Hi, Len here. Let's put the borders on this deck. And the other one over there. If you've watched the last few videos, we've done the piles, bearers, joists, and put the main body of the decking on. Now it's time to finally finish it. The way we do this is by using a plunge saw to cut the edges. So we've overhung the edges because it's a lot easier to cut them after and a lot more accurate. Before we go and cut the decking, we need to mark where the cut's going to be, so we line that up off the cladding and the window to make it look as good as possible. And we also want a minimum of 12mm gap between the cladding and the decking. We haven't screwed in the ends because of course the position of those screws depends on where the cut is going to be. And because the end of the decking boards aren't screwed in, what we want to do is just check that they're all straight and screw in any that aren't straight or use wedges to adjust them, because if we don't do that, when we go and straighten it later, the cuts won't be in line with the rest of it. Later on I'm going to show you a tip to get those joins looking absolutely perfect.
Oh, think we're good. That piece just wedged against the blade. I could feel some of these ping over as I cut them. In fact, look at this. That's how much it moved. So that screw is definitely doing something.
Now I can start cutting the borders. Now with the borders, even though the corners in this case should be 90 degrees, they're slightly off because we've matched the plaster. So what we do here is cut the first piece at 45 and then use a bevel to match the second piece to the first piece.
Alright, that's this border done. I'll show you on the other deck how I did it, and there's a few other things going on there that make it a little bit more interesting. Let's crack on, eh?
There's just a little bit of a tricky detail along the window, which I've come up with a solution, which is doing miters that aren't 45-degree angle. I think this is probably the best solution. Let me know in the comments if you've got a better idea. First I need to mark and cut the board out so it will fit where I want it to, and then I can do that 12mm scribe around the cladding.
Board's not pinned straight yet, but even then it looks pretty good. So now, I need to miter this thing.
The way to do this is to place your boards where you want them to lie, and then mark the two intersecting points and cut across the line between the two. That's done, onto the other corner.
Alright, I've got this border cut, but it looks like it doesn't fit properly. Or does it? There's a little bit of a bow in the board, so I'll show you a trick. You just clamp it in, and check this out.
There we go, beautiful. So now I need to put the facings on, which is pretty easy. So I've set up myself a little template here. Doesn't need to be super accurate. The key thing is I have it to about 5mm. I want to check that it's plumb as well. If I get this plumb, it means that I can get this join nice and straight and you won't see a gap there. Now I can just adjust, well, it's quite sharp, funny that. Adjust that position. Yep, that'll work. I lined it up as well so that corner lines up with this miter. As I have had on previous decks, if you're standing over that way, you can see they're not in line. To me, that just looks a little bit ugly.
So here's the tip I promised. We use a router on all our joins, and that way it hides any differences in the gauging, be that the thickness or the width of the boards. And it also means you don't get splinters in your feet, so that's a bonus. That is it for this deck and this house. This is the first house that I've fully built from start to finish. Apart from the foundry, we didn't do that. I think it's time for a bit of a tour. What do you reckon? Front of the house just looks awesome. This hard as rock cladding, we waited for it for months. It finally went on. It looks mint. It's got some awesome hanging lights in the living room, bedroom and in the entryway. I think they're about $2,000 each. The barn door went up last week. Kitchen is awesome, and there's a second kitchen, scullery. Apparently that's the thing now. 3 awesome bathrooms, all tile, all different tile, which doesn't really do it for me. So I'm a little bit sad to see this place go. I've spent almost a year here and learnt heaps. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Cheers!